Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. And today we're going to discuss about MSBI project. Many people are asking that we know SSIS and SSAS and SSRS, and they know the theory, but they're not able to, understand how the project is going to go in the production environment. Okay. So today we're going to, explain about MSBA project. The duration will be for minimum, 40 years, and we're going to handle a couple of things, important things that you can use as part of your CV whenever going for the interview. Right. So let us understand what is that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about insurance or healthcare. Okay. So here I'm going to give you a couple of things and the client. I'm talking about the client here is Taurus. Okay, so based out in UK, and the module I'm talking about, the project I'm talking about is TARDIS. Project name is TARDIS, client is Taurus UK, and the module is completely, I'm talking about healthcare domain. Healthcare domain project, you can say domain or module, whatever you wanted to say. Okay, domain is healthcare domain, you can say, and the module would be, let me have like this. Module is insurance module. Okay, so domain is, I'm talking about healthcare. So healthcare domain is also called as a medical domain, right? So this is the thing we're going to talk today. So the client is Taurus, and project it had is module insurance module, and healthcare is medical. So what is that the project all about? Let us understand. So whenever you go to a Taurus UK, so Taurus UK has a lot many branches all over the UK, and any customer can go to a Taurus company, and the customer should be able to buy a medical policy. Now, I think we know that what is a medical policy. Medical policy will have some kind of a insurance and the customer name, customer ID, and customer address, and what is the type of the policy is going to buy. The type of the policy could be individual policy or group insurance policy or the family float or something like that. You have a lot of policy types we have. So different types of policies they're going to sell it, and the customer goes to any branch and they should be able to buy a policy, or customer also buy a policy using a web. So how a customer is going to buy a policy? I'm talking about the process about the company, how this company is going to sell the policies to the customers. So customer can go to the web, or we're also saying that online. So they can go to the online or they can go to the web. They should be able to go to their website and they should be able to buy the policy. This is one way. Our customer also can go and through a agent, or we'll also call them as brokers. Okay, so they can go to agents, customer can go to any agent or broker. They should be able to go buy the policy. Or you may go to any third party also. For example, you have some XYZ company. The XYZ company is referring the Taurus company medical policies to you. So for example, I wanted to go to X company, so there is a Citibank. Citibank also can sell a the third party insurance policies, right? So what is the data we're going to store in this application? The data is going to capture is the customer's data. What is the customer ID and policy ID and something like that? And we're talking about a policy date. So what kind of a policy start date, policy end date, and the policy premium amount, and something like this. So what is the type of the policy, what is the policy categories and branch in which they're able to go about the policy. And we're talking about what is the premium amount they paid. Okay, premium amount they paid, and what is the deductions they got it, and we're talking about deductions and premium amount, and there are some limit amount on the every policy. For example, you may buy a policy for or say $10,000 or $20,000 or $1 lakh, something like that, $1 million. So $500,000. So there's a limit on the each and every policy. So the limit amount is getting captured, and the broker information going to be captured. A broker means I'm talking about which agent is referred you, thus agent information is got, and every branch also can get the policy. So you will have a web online agent broker, or customer directly will go to any branch. So these kind of a customers are called as walk-in customers. Okay, so walk-in, you can go to any branch, you should be able to buy a policy, right? So that data is also bought it. So branch will have lots of branches we have, and all the data is available in branch level. So in which branch we sold how many policies, and who are the walk-in customers for branch number one, branch number two, something like that. So customer can go and get the policies. So whenever you uh, go to this company is giving you lots of deductions. This means you can say discounts. And not only this data, we have also some data called claims data, right? So you bought a policy and you never applied for a claim in the first year, but after second year and third year you applied lot of claims, right? So you have a claims data. If you don't have any kind of a claims for 3 to 5 years, you will be getting a lot of deductions in the next renewal. So I'm talking about renewal. So we have also renewal data that is getting captured in our databases, right? So this database we're talking about OLTP database. OLTP data we're going to capture. OLTP means whenever you buy anything, whenever you renew some policy, or whenever you apply for a claim, or whenever you go to this company and go for a claims, all the data will get captured in the database, and the database is called as a OLTP data. So past 5 10 years, this OLTP data, they had an OLTP. Now they wanted to send the data from OLTP to stage database, and from the stage database, I wanted to have a data warehouse database. Now the question is that we have a lot of variety of data we have in OLTP: customer data, policy data, types data, branch data, premium amount, claims data, renewal data. Renewal means what? I bought a policy this year, and after the expiry date, I should be able to renew it, right? So before 1 month, or they'll give you 1 month of grace period. So after that, if you do it, so they may take some kind of a the penalty if you go beyond the grace period. Before that, when you renew it, the renewal data also will get captured. If you don't renew it, that will get lapsed, right? So a lot of policies will get opened in this year, but out of 100%, probably 70 to 80% policies will get renewed next year, right? So whenever apply a new policy, and it is a chance that how many new customers are apply for the claim, how many old customers are claiming the data. So a lot of data analytics they wanted to have it. Okay, so why is that they are going to implement a MSBI here? The size is that every annum approximately they're going to get some 500 GBs of data. Okay, so 500 GBs of data means, which is approximately say 10 millions of rows, or more than that also. Okay, 10 millions of rows or 100 millions of rows we're getting every annum. That data I'm not able to keep in this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this 100 GB or 500 GB of data. I wanted to put it into data warehouse. So every year you have 500 GB of data. You think about last 5 10 years of data, approximately you have some terabytes of data. So last 10 20 years of data, here we have approximately say So 10 years means approximately you have 5 terabytes of data you have, right? So 5 terabytes of data, you will not be able to keep them in OLTP and do a lot of data analytics there. And the current year data you have here, that is 500 GB of data. On this, you may do some kind of a real-time reporting, real-time analytics. But I have lost 4 to 5 terabytes of data because every and I'm getting this data every month. I'm getting some approximately some 50 GB of data. That is what is called incremental loading, right? People are talking about every annum you're getting this much of data, but what is that incremental loading you do? So and every incremental loading you say every month, 50 GB of data every month, we're going to send it to the OLAP applications with the help of SSIS, right? So this data will go every month. So approximately we'll have 600 GB to 500 GB to 600 GB of data is going to go. And the data warehouse size is now 5 terabytes of data. So I wanted to analyze a lot of things here, but normally data warehouse will have two kinds of tables, dimension tables, and we have fact tables, and we have to talk about a schema also here. What is a schema you're going to use? We're going to use star schema, or we're going to use a snowflake schema. I'm going to talk about the design later. So why you have to use snowflake schema, or why you have to use star schema also, you have to be very clear on this. Probably you're clear on what is the kind of data we're capturing and what is the size of the data we have, and every month we're getting approximately incremental loading is 50 GB of data. That is we're getting it's getting accumulated in the data warehouse. But data warehouse, before going to data warehouse, the data will be coming to stage, and from the stage database, and the data is dumping onto data warehouse. Okay, so you can see the data warehouse data is lost and is data that you wanted to analyze and you wanted to use, and we have 5 terabytes of data approximately, right? So data warehouse will have dimension tables and fact tables, but OLTP system will have the tables called master tables and transactional tables, right? So remember this point. So OLTP system will have two types of tables, master tables and transactional tables. But now master tables of OLTP system will be considered as a dimension table in the data warehouse. Okay. Transactional tables of OLTP system will be converted as fact tables. Let us understand a small difference between a master table and transactional table. I'll give you a simple example so that you will be able to understand. For example, here, customer table would be a master table, right? So hardly every day you will not be able to get lots of customers, right? So once in a while you should be able to get a customers, right? So you have a customer could be a master table, but what is a transactional table? Transactional table means where you get more and more transactions. For example, let us talk about a banking domain. I'll give you one separate example so that you will be able to understand very clearly. And you go that to banking application, right? So in the bank, you go and you open an account. I'm talking about banking application. This is OLTP because whatever the application you're using, that is OLTP application, only the end user sees. I have a customer table in the banking. Whenever you go to bank, open an account, you have a customer data, right? So they have a lot of branches. They have a lot of branch data. What do you mean by branch data? They may have a branch ID. Where is the branch? What is the branch name? And what is the HOD, who's the HOD for the branch, what is the address and location of the branch, something like that. It is given. So the customer would be, you will have customer ID and you will have customer name, right? You have customer phone number, you may have customer date of birth, something like that. You have some customer data, and the customer ID would be a primary key, and here the branch ID would be a primary key, something like this. So you have some data. And OLTP, as we know, that it will have master table, and these two are master tables, right? And every bank, when you open an account here, And when you open an account here, you do a lot of transactions. What do you mean by transactions? You do that cash withdrawal and everything. So there is a table called a transactional table, and the transactional table I'm talking about, who's the customer and in which branch, or date of transaction, and what is the type of the transaction is doing, right? And what is the transaction amount we're talking about. For example, customer, we have, say, customer here, let me give customer is one, and customer name, say, John, and customer phone number, you can say 123230, something like this. Okay, customer date of birth would be, let me say, July 10th 1990, something like that. We have customer number one. Like that, we have customer number two, and here customer number two is that we have one more customer. So that is, say, David, and the phone number is something like this. So forget about the phone number, I'm putting some dummy data. And the date of birth of the customer, say, August 6th and 1988, something like this. We have a lot of data here, right? We have some branch, so you may say branch BR1 is the number, and say which is there in some ABC, or the branch name is ABC, and HOD some blah blah blah, have some data address, maybe in Chicago, something like this. You give like this, right? So like that, you have Chicago, Newark, some data, branch BR2. So branch name is some, Chicago branch. The name could be, say, New York branch, something like this, or near to, Walmart branch, something like that. You give names, right? So now a customer is going to go, the customer number one, John, is going to go to BR1 and is doing some data transaction, say, and two to 2000, say 1919, they have opened an account. And after that, sorry, it is not data of opening an account. You may have data of opening an account here. It's in the customer table only. Okay, this is data of transaction. So data of transaction, let me give, say, 2014 data, let us take. So type of the transaction is cash deposit. So he's doing, say, $1,000 or $10,000, he's going to put it. Now, if you ask me, customer ID is a primary key, but customer ID is the foreign key in this. So this table has, this is a foreign key, and branch ID is also foreign key, and this is a primary key table. So master tables always will have a primary keys. And now tell me, how many times John is going to open a new account? Only once, right? So after that, he's keep on doing a lot of transactions, cash deposits, and he may go to again to branch number BR2 and is doing a check withdrawal. Say, let me say some 20 and say March, say 2014, he wanted to do some kind of a cash withdrawals of $3,000, right? So this table will have a foreign key, and this table will have a lot of data, and this table is called as a transactional table. So what is a transactional table? What is a master table? The name itself is a transaction. So customer transactions, you can say, the table name would be customer transactions. Customers transaction. So this is what is called as a transactional table. So what is the difference between a master table and transactional table? Master tables will have little data, less data, because once in a while the customer is going to open the data. But when you compare with the transactional table will every day cash deposits, cash withdrawal would happen. You will have the rate of, the rate in which the data goes is very, very, huge. So these tables are called transactional tables. Transactional tables. Are you clear? So now, one more thing, we observe that the customer tables will have the master tables will have primary keys. The transactional table will have foreign keys. And the third one is that this will have less data. So less data, and we have primary keys, and we have less data, we have primary keys, right? Something like this, so you have to say. And the transactional tables will have more data, and we have Lot of foreign keys will be available here. But when you see here in the master table, you will have more of string date, more of string data you will have. These are the properties or characteristic features you can see in the master tables. But transactional table, you will have more data. Here already we know that less data. And here we're talking about foreign keys. And here we're talking about more of numerical data, more of numerical data. When you see the numbers, so you have more numerical data, you should be able to get it here, and very less of the character data. So we have address everything more string data. So when we're talking about master tables will have less data compared to transactional table, and the primary keys are available, and lot of string data or char varchar data. So this is numerical data. So all master tables will be converted in the data warehouse. Okay. So all master tables, we can say dimensional tables. So dimension tables means you will have more string data and more primary keys will be there. Clear? And you will have fact tables. Fact tables where you have more numerical data and more, foreign keys will be there, and you have large data size will be there. Okay, large data size here. So you can say the data size is very, very small data size. You can, anybody can understand easily like this. Clear? So what is a master table? OLTP will have a master tables. All master tables will be a dimension tables in the data warehouse. All transactional tables will be, you will have a fact tables in the data warehouse. Clear? You will have more and more dimension tables, and you will have less fact tables. At least I have, go here in our example, we have so 10,000 these tables, and 10,000 plus tables we have. So in our own example, right? We're talking about here, not this example. I'm talking about one more, right? So here in our project, we have approximately 10,000 tables. Out of 10,000 tables, you have much more master tables, and you have much more transactional tables, right? So what is a transactional table? What is a this table I have explained? So that is what we have, and that data you're going to dump it here. Now, why is that? We are going to put, and one is a size limitation I told you. The second one, what is the objective of the project? Okay, so that is also I wanted to understand. Objective is that they wanted to understand lot of data analytics using this project. So one is that they wanted to understand a renewal ratio. So how many people are opening an accounts and they're not turning up. So they wanted to analyze last 5 years data, or last 8 years data they wanted to analyze. So renewals ratios each year. Okay, each year they wanted to understand, and they wanted to understand year-wise profits. Year-wise profits, we don't have limited data. We have 10 terabytes of data, which is not very easy to process in normal application. So you have to have some kind of a cube and everything. So year-wise profits I wanted to understand, and I wanted to understand so branch-wise. So branch-wise, product-wise. Product means different policy types we have. Branch-wise, product-wise, and revenues. Okay, and they wanted to give some kind of a recommendations means what? And people who are buying a policy called X or policy called Y, so can they buy a policy called Z? So we have some kind of a, for example, I have an individual guy is there, individual policies is buying. So and can we turn that guy into they say a more family floater plan if is a married, right? Something like that. I wanted to apply some kind of a recommendations on this. So I wanted to go. And if the customer is renewing continuously for 3 4 years, and they wanted to give some kind of a recommendations, or they wanted to give some kind of a discounts for the customers based on the customer profile. For example, a customer is not applied for any claims for last 3 consecutive years, but they have continuously renewing. So I wanted to say fourth year, the completely the premium amount is completely waived off because he did not do any kind of a claims, right? So I wanted to give some kind of a discounts, and based on the the analysis, I have done it. So I wanted to get branch wise data, which is the branch which is doing more policies, and which is who's the broker is doing lots of trend analysis I wanted to do. So which is the quarter I got more profit, which is the year I got more profit, where is that I'm going for a loss, and which type of the policies people are not at all buying, and which area the time is getting more to settle the claims. If the claim rate is not, the settlement time is more, and definitely people will oppose the company. People are not going to buy it. So I wanted to minimize the claims, the number of days it is taking to issue the claim amount, right? So something like that. We wanted to perform a lot of data analytics on it. So I wanted to have this data, huge amount of data. Hence, we're going for this kind of a project, right? So we're going to discuss about all these things in our project. Okay. Now, if you're talking about how is that you're going to implement, the first is that they're going to ask you, tell me about your project. What are the questions you may answer in the interview, right? Questions from interview, you should be able to get it. So based on your project. So definitely when you do this project, you should be able to answer all these questions. So tell me, the first question people would ask you, tell me about your project, right? So then when you do the project, you should be able to tell, and this tell project flow. Okay, project flow, tell me. Then third one, they tell me about what is the sizes. They're going to ask what is the sizes of OLTP. They'll say data warehouse. The sizes they wanted to ask you. Tell me the nature of the data. So what is the type of the data we're talking about? Nature of the data you have. And they may also ask you the names of the tables also sometimes. Tell me what are the names of the tables you have used? Names of the tables. And they may ask you how they are linked. So how they are linked. Tell me the primary key and foreign key relationships and how the data you're going to flow. Tell me the SSIS packages flow. The SSIS package you have created, and that how it is performing full loading and incremental loading of data. So incremental loading of data using SSIS, right? So then what are the real-time challenges you have? So what are the challenges, real-time challenges or project issues, or you can say project challenges which you have done in the current projects, right? So project issues or challenges in the current project, right? So now tell me what is the data warehouse architecture, right? And what type of data you got, okay? And so it is insurance data or banking data, and what are the different data sources you have? So like that, they should be able to ask you lots of questions, and you should be able to answer them very easily. What type of the reports you have created? So now tell me what is a cube? What is a cube? And they'll also ask you how many cubes you have. So lot of questions they're going to ask. What are the varieties of reports you have done it? SSRS reports and its types. And what are the challenges you have faced? And tell me where did you use, okay, uh, drill down report, something like that. Drilling down report. Where did you use parameterized report? And where did you use, lookup in SSIS? Lookup or, conditional split. So in SSIS, like that, they're going to ask you, tell me one package from starting to end. So which you have created. Tell me one, SSIS package which you have developed from start to end, right? So all these are the real-time questions that you will not be able to answer if you don't know proper SSIS project, if you don't implement. So we are going to implement, we are going to, get all this, answered in our project. And not only that, tell me, did you use any, T-SQL statements? So we're going to implement lot of store procs in this. So we're also going to cover lots of T-SQL. So we're going to cover a lot of T-SQL store procedures, and that is also will get covered here, so that you will be able to answer all of them, and you should be able to get, and definitely should be able to complete the interview. Are you clear? So this is the project, and which will take a minimum of duration is 40 hours, right? And that you should be able to use. So minimum you have to work 1.5 hour, and more activities I'm going to give you. It is not a theoretical sessions, more practice, more the project material I'm going to give you. So you should be able to take the material and you should be able to work on your own. So this is what is called a project that's I'm going to give you. Clear? So any questions you have?